Hello everyone and welcome back to Canadian King Coins. In today's video I'll be giving you the history of the Canadian $2 banknote, both the older Dominion of Canada notes and the more modern Bank of Canada notes. Now of course in Canada we use the toonie, a $2 bimetallic coin introduced in 1996. But before that we used the $2 bill, just like the United States. The Bank of Canada is Canada's central bank and issuer of all of Canada's banknotes since it opened its doors in 1935. But before that, issuing banknotes was the responsibility of the Dominion government. I don't have many of these old bills, as they are very rare and can be very expensive today. But the first $2 bill came in the first issue of currency after Canada's 1867 Confederation in 1870. The next issue came in 1878, another came in 1887, then again in 1897, and another in 1914. Which is the next one I'd like to buy. The first $2 bill I do actually have is also the last issue from the Dominion of Canada, the 1923 issue. Featured on the bill is the Prince of Wales, who later briefly became King Edward VIII. The reverse features the coat of arms of Canada. The varieties of this note come from the different colored seals. There were 5 different colored seals produced for this note: black, red, blue, green, and bronze, with black being the most common by far. This note remained in circulation until 1935, when the Bank of Canada opened, becoming Canada's central bank and sole issuer of banknotes. The first issue of the Bank of Canada notes came in the same year, 1935. These notes were made considerably smaller, to roughly the size of American banknotes. This size has only changed slightly up to the notes today. The color chosen for the $2 denomination was blue, and King George V's wife, Queen Mary, was featured on the obverse. The reverse featured an allegory representing transportation. For the 1935 issue only, separate English and French notes were produced, with the French being much rarer. King George V died in early 1936, and Edward VIII became the king, but abdicated the throne before the year was out, so no banknotes were ever produced for his reign. A new series of banknotes were issued in 1937, featuring the new king, George VI. The issue was now completely bilingual, with English on the left and French on the right. The color of the $2 denomination was also changed from blue to orange, or terracotta as they call it. The reverse allegory was changed to one representing the harvest. George VI died in 1952, and his daughter was crowned Elizabeth II. A new issue of banknotes was designed, this time branching away from the more ornate previous designs. The new notes were issued in 1954 and featured the Queen on the obverse and a country valley from central Canada on the reverse. It really is a beautiful scene. This is one of my favorite notes. It's just so brightly colored. These notes remained in production until 1974, when the next issue was released. The obverse features a slightly older portrait of the Queen, and the reverse features a scene of Inuit preparing for the hunt. This bill has a very nice color too. The next and final issue of the Canadian $2 bill came in 1986. This is probably the one that you're most familiar with if you've seen any at all. This issue featured an older still portrait of the Queen on the obverse, and as part of the Birds of Canada series, featured 2 robins on the reverse. This series would continue to be produced until 1996, when on February 16th the denomination was withdrawn, and the $2 coin entered circulation on February 19th. $2 bills are almost never seen in circulation today. In the 23 years since the coin's release, the toonie has almost completely replaced the bill. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video on the history of the Canadian $2 bill. And if you'd like to see more like this in the future, consider subscribing, or check out some of the other videos on my channel. And as always, have a great day.